spectacularly shit weather today. Right, okay. Where are we with this thing? So I've put in the front lower section behind the grille down there. Top panel's all bolted in, horns are on, lights are all in, new side repeaters. The old ones were just shot, I'm afraid, so I put new side repeaters on. These are a slightly later style, but I don't think anyone's going to mind. I'll connect up the battery again via my rudimentary system and take you round here, and here you can see, column controls. Oh, they're in. That's interesting. Flasher works, horn doesn't. So that's got to be because both are fed by the purple feed off the back of the fuse board over there. And I've been and cleaned all of the fuse board connections up. So what we'll do, here we are, this will do nicely. Nice jump lead. We'll connect up the jump lead from the earth to the earth. See if that works. Maybe it's not connected, I don't know. Let's take the earth off. Right, got a good connection now. There we go. Right, now we've got an earth connection. Oh! Yeah, so it's an earth connection problem we've got there. That's easy enough to fix. As you've just seen, the flasher function works. The lights are working. The switch to do the interior lights, you can see the cigarette lights down there, is working. Okay, so we know the interior lights are working. There's not an awful lot you can really see. You can see that light on the back of the pod there is lit, but then they're always a bit glowwormy. You're not going to be able to see them in light like this. I can see that that is working, and I can see the lights on the centre gauges are working. We can also see the vomiter is working, which it shouldn't be at this stage. So if I put the... Right, I'll go back to what I was saying just now before the SD card filled up. The vomiter is reading all the time. So I need to work out, it needs to go onto a white wire and not onto, probably on a brown wire at the moment, because you can see it's reading at about 12 volts. If I put the lights on, and you can see the volts drop. Okie doke. Right, so then when the ignition goes on, so it's a vomiter fix we need to do. Indicators, they're static at the moment because I don't have a flasher unit installed. You can see the telltale nice and bright up there. The flash is nice and bright up there. The lights on and the full beam nice and bright. So all of the functions up there are working. There's not many lights on up there because I don't actually have many sensors connected, which is why kind of it's good to test it before you put it together. If I go for the other indicator, you see the telltale's working beautifully. And when I go around to the front here, nice and bright. I've still got to put covers on, obviously. Now, I've not connected up the rear part of the loom yet, but we know everything's working. Now the other thing is, there's your wiper motor. There's the switch. So if we go for an intermittent and park and slow and off and park and fast and off and park. Happy enough with that? So the wiper motor's working, all the switch gears working. I can't test any fog light function because there ain't none. And I can't test the rear wiper function because there ain't none. I've ordered up the quarter light frames because the ones that are supplied they're not beautiful really, are they? I've got 3 quarter light glasses and none of them are beautiful, so I've ordered a pair of the Machinal machinal.co.uk, correct it down below if it's not, a Machinal quarter light metals. They don't come with any paint on, they just come bare steel. So I'll get those sorted out. I can finish off the driver's door frame, then get it installed. I've also got the rubbers I've also got the rubbers for the door channels, so all of this lot can go in and get this car more watertight than it is currently, which will be quite useful in this most inclement weather. And then really, yeah, well, the project's leaping forwards, bound by bound. I'm not going to video every single little thing I do on this car. If you want to see a detailed restoration, probably the Alan project, or maybe even the Bob project, to give you the specific details. So what I've really been doing here is finishing off the front end of this thing. So as you can see, the deck panel's on. It's in there, lines up. Still got problems with this wing down here, but I think some of that is just down to damage, so I wasn't kicking your car, John. All of the column controls you've seen are all in. It's just a case of putting things back on the car and not taking them off anymore. So the grille came off because really I want to put the bonnet release cable on, and then I found another problem in that the catch that the bonnet release cable goes through down here, well, it's not on the car. And I went to the old bulkhead side panel and it wasn't on that either. Right, latest fun on the alternator bracket. As I pointed out already, I'm waiting for the power steering bracket to arrive, SD1 power steering bracket. I lined up my Range Rover alternator bracket, and unfortunately it needs a pulley there, and that's where the damper is on the SD1. And I don't want to start fucking around with pulleys and stuff, so what I've basically done is I've mounted the original SD1 alternator bracket back into position. Now this is the one where the alternator is designed to hang below, and I'm starting to look at this thing thinking, can I use this and mount the alternator above using those holes? And if not, can I put something, a couple of pieces of angle bracket in there, which then will allow me to mount the alternator above? And I think the answer is probably. So I've got an alternator, which I had just now, not 2 minutes ago. What the fuck about, oh, here it is. So here's a 18 ACR type copy. So it's the correct one, it's the right hand mount. So first and foremost, I can't mount it above the current bracket, not without cutting the bracket, I don't believe. So I could potentially, so I could cut this mounting bracket back along this edge here, but I think this being aluminium might make these a bit too weak and prone to failure. So rather than do that, what I'm possibly going to do now is to use a bit of angle line basically to come this way and this way or that way, and mount the alternator onto those. So it ends up with the alternator kind of mounting like this up here on top of this bracket. And when I do that, I can then get the alternator to line up against that pulley there. Now, I don't know, I could potentially move it even further forwards and line up with the water pump pulley, so it runs the alternator, the water pump, off the same pulley. I'm going to have to faff around and try and find belts and so forth for this, but I think that's belts are the least of my worries at the moment. It's really what pulleys I'm planning on using. Now, there is a pulley at the back here, which could possibly be for the power steering, but then I've also, this pointer for the timing is in the way, so I suspect I need to use these two front pulleys. That one's very clearly for water pump. It could also work with the alternator, I don't know yet. I can figure that out. So I think the next thing really I need is going to be that power steering bracket, get the power steering pump mocked up and in position, and then I can decide how I'm going to push that any further. So then I got myself into a bit of a kind of like, you know, what am I going to do next? So I thought, well, fuck it, I'm going to bleed the brakes. What I'm going to do, I'm going to bleed the brakes. I'm going to put all the brake pads in. I'm going to get everything sorted out. So on these cars, it's got Imperial Brake Master, because it's vertical and not horizontal, and it's got the Imperial Poudoir pressure warning differential activator, or whatever, or pressure differential warning activator, PDWA. That's down there on the inner wing, and then as it goes towards the back of the car, bearing in mind this is an F-suffix car, on the back of the heel board it should have a a pressure reducer for the back axle. This was a regulation that came in or around 1980. It looks like that. On later cars that had the pressure differential warning activator and the warning switch on the master, this was mounted on the bulkhead down here, that way round. Okay, so you had the rear brake going to that rear port and the front brakes went through this front port here. However, I ain't got that. So this on these earlier cars mounts onto the heel board. And the reason there's no heel board on the car at the moment is because I took it off. Oh, for fuck's sake. When is this fucking job going to finish? Oh, that was out loud, Richard. Anyway, I've been over it with the sit wheel, and the majority of this is actually in fairly good order. I'm quite comfortable with it. I'll go over it in a little bit more detail. The majority of the rot that I've got is in this area here. So more or less what I'm going to do here is chop this off here and along this top edge here, and then make up a new section and weld it on. I haven't got another one of these that I can fiddle around with, unfortunately. So I've got to make do with this one. And then the the pressure warning thing, the pressure reducer, bolts onto the reverse side, pretty much about there, like that, bolts on there, like that. So if you've ever seen one of those, and it's on the back end of the car, that's what it is, that's what it's doing, that's what it's there for. So strictly speaking, this car is period detail right, having the Imperial Master and the pressure differential warning activator down here, and then it's got the pressure reducing valve, which will be located onto the rear of the heel board here, and it sits in between the back end of the boudoir there and the back axle. Simples. Single brake line goes to the back axle on these. The twin circuit is only on the front brakes, so the back axle only has a single circuit. Autumn's closing in. It's only about 6 o'clock. Anyway, so made up a repair panel and welded that in. It's still a bit warm. Welded in a couple of other flush pieces, that's nice and warm, over here. Basically the under seal on the inside was catching fire, which is why I'm getting contamination here. It happens. The rest of this I'm going to treat to a coat of rust prevention, paint it probably with something like the Rust-Oleum product. Fuck you. And then really it can go on. I'll seam seal these repairs on the underside. I'm not too worried about this edge here. That's the boot lid, sits on that, and once this is all de-rusted down here, oh, that's going to be solid. That'll be happy. So I can go back on, and then I can finish the bloody brake setup, which is going to delight me and the customer. Not done. I busted not filming over the last week for one reason or another. Anyway, on the old Lincoln Green project, I've got the whole passenger door glass frame and everything now is in place. It is all in place. I probably just need to lower the hinge just a tiny bit. On the whole though, that fits just fucking beautiful. Just fucking beautiful. Very happy with that. Glass goes up and down nice and easily. Driver's side, by the way, while we're talking about doors rather than engines. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. I had to readjust this door and adjust a lot of the frame. As you can see here, I've been belting it with lumps of wood, in order that I could get the seal to actually meet up with the door, because it wasn't. Not a lot of cop that, really. Yeah, the seal needs to meet up with the door. It does now. Still no shims, but just need to do some basic adjustment, undoing the bolts, moving the door around a little bit so I can actually get it to fit in. Heel board's back in. Oh yes. And you can see the bolt about there. That's for the pressure reduction valve that's going to go in. I need to, when it's not 5 degrees, I'm going to get underneath and put the brake lines in. All the brake pads have gone in, all ready for a brake bleed. Get the wheels on this thing, because then when the wheels are on this thing, I won't have that pile of wheels over there. No. Now, I started messing around with the exhaust mount, because I suddenly realised before the heel bulb went on, the rear exhaust mount is not on there. So I thought, oh, that's a piece of cake. I'll just make myself a bit of bent rod. I'll put the clip on there to go to the exhaust, then mount it onto the chassis. Nah, someone's welded a bar onto it. So I'll have to go for the... Oh, that didn't shut nicely. I could do that all day long. Anyway, I'm going to have to get one of the normal clamps and just weld a bar on the top of it so I can attach the hickety-uppity, Richard, the standard rubber. When I'm bending those bars, by the way, I use one of these. Now, this was in danger of giving up. You can see this arm here has started to bend. This is the very, very, very best Chinesium as well. Probably abused it a little bit, to be honest. But never mind, shit happens. I can go back up there again. Very useful, thank you very much. Where's my other paint gun gone? Weird. Nothing like getting distracted, is there? Oh, it's over there, look. It's on the stand. Nothing like getting distracted, is it, Richard? Benches going to get removed. I've realised now, the more benches you've got, the more crap that you leave on the benches. So I'm going to get rid of benches. Reduce the number of benches down. Reduce the number of crap down. Well, the end of another day. And no videoing. Sorry, folks. But, oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes, Enoch. Yes, face. I'm letting the seals settle down a little bit around the door. So they're done a little bit too tight at the moment, which is why the back wing sits slightly proud, but then it's not fixed onto the A-post, and that's certainly not fixed in. I've got these chappies to go on. Nice big aluminium wing retainers. The SD1 power steering pump bracket arrived. I'm going to fiddle around with that. And then the customer turned up with a Disco 1 Range Rover alternator bracket, which goes on this side here. Trouble is, he's got these bloody studs in here. And then on the driver's side, I had to do a little bit of rework around the frame. But the window goes up and down as easy as you like. I've had to increase the size of the bolt on the edge there, but I can sort the remains of that out, and the seal hasn't quite settled yet, so it needs a firm hand to close, but does close. So I'll leave that to settle overnight. The seal should form into the correct shape. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. It's been a busy old day. You know how it goes. Brakes are bled. Woohoo! Brake fluid is still all in the car. I've got the seats coming for this tomorrow. I did a little bit of finish off the welding down the back of the B-post, put the floor supports in at the front end down here. I need to clear this interior out because the customer's coming over with seats tomorrow, which is why I've got the doors and everything are all fitted. I need to adjust this door. Now I've got the door to close on the seals. I now need to get it to close properly. I put the retaining strips on the bottom edges of the front wings. And really that's been my day and a half on this, because I've spent the rest of the week shifting cars up and down the country. See other video. Yes. Well, just a week ago it was like 20 degrees. Here we are, 1st of November. It's fucking biblical out there. It's a big old storm going across the south of England, Shire. Yes, it's the weather is most inclement love a bit of horizontal rain, haven't you? I was just about to do a bit of filming and this all kicks off. Fuck's sake, and we're flooding as well. It's been a very long day. Gone 6. Right, where am I? Windscreen was supposed to be going in tomorrow. They can't get the stock from Pilkington, so that's now Friday. It's a shame, but never mind. Interior's all covered up in the back there. A lot of people say that they quite like watching me do stuff, but because there's only one of me in the workshop, I tend not to film when I'm doing stuff. I tend to just do it. So, really where I am, what have I done? Can you even see? It's a bit dark in here. Let's put some light on the subject. How about that? Let's do it like that. There we are, I can see now. Window winder is in. All the door handle controls, everything are in on the passenger side. Put the bastard bolt in. Put the top check strap in. I need to go into the container to find the bits for the bottom check strap. Dash I've been assembling for its final kind of fits. So glove box is in. I still need to line up the inboard kind of mounting for the glove box and get that so that it's properly fixed to the bulkhead side. Now I basically have to make up a pair of those. So let me just turn that off for a second. Oh, where's my coffee? I wonder where that had gone. I know it's a mess, folks. I know it's a mess. I know it's a mess. Made up a couple of the brackets, so that will fix onto the bulkhead side. Bottom hole will be for the bonnet pull. Top hole for a spire clip that then supports the glove box. There's 2 of those, one for each side. Made those up, dead easy. I took a template from yonks ago. I fitted. The reason those are on there is because I'm not familiar with the HIF 4/6. I've done them, but I'm not 100% familiar with them. So because of that, I've then kind of struggled a little bit with kind of understanding things like choke mechanism and throttle. So I've got choke cable, throttle cable, both routed through. On this side, similarly, fitted out the door. Put both check straps in there. Nice, easy window operation. Beautiful. Assembled the nacelle around the steering column controls and got all the flashes and everything fitted in. Choke control up on the dash up here. I've really just been tidying up all the wiring and so forth underneath the dash so I could put the underdash panel in as well. And it's done. Found the floor section which goes in here. Oddly enough, I found it in the back of the car while I was clearing it out because the customer turned up with the interior, which is very nice, but also very leathery. So it's currently covered with a dust sheet in the back here. Now this door doesn't shut quite so nicely, but it's better than it was. It's not. It's going to show me up now. You watch. Shuts. Still working on that door. Customer loves the look of the wheels on it. That's fantastic. I must admit, because it's an inch lowered, it does look quite mean and beefy. I was going to do something and I was going to tell you something and I can't remember what the fuck it was now. Interior. Oh yeah, floor. So where's the floor gone? It's up here. So this is the floor section that the customer provided with me. Just going to lean it on the b-suffix for a second. It's actually in really good shape. I stripped off the back end of it. I'll treat the rust on it and I'll paint that. Just use like a Rust-Oleum type paint on it and then it can be fitted into the car. Really, other than that, it's just going around doing all the little jobs, and there's a ton of it to do. I've still done absolutely nothing with the engine. This might be tomorrow's job actually, because I might finally get the power steering and the alternator understood and get that sorted out. Yeah. Other than that, it's been. Oh, it looks like all of the clutch fluid has leaked out somewhere, probably on the floor. Is that empty? Yeah. Oh, that's good. I wonder where that's all gone. Hopefully not into the slave. I'll look at that tomorrow. I hadn't actually finished bleeding. Oh, there is a patch on the floor down there. I hadn't actually finished bleeding the clutch because the little pipe, the little U pipe that goes on the end of the flexi down there, had a pinhole in it, believe it or not. So I had to fix that, make up a new pipe. And then seat boxes, I need to work on these. It's probably the easiest one to look at, isn't it? So basically, seat boxes came attached to the seats. They've been brush painted with the seats attached to them. So I might just give them a bit of a clean up. You can see the amount of shit that's in the runners and everything on these. And then the leading edge, not unsurprisingly, has rotted out. So I'll chop this off, make up another section, weld it on, make it look a bit better than that. Both of them exactly the same. And then I can fix the seat boxes into the car. I'd rather do that without the seats attached to them anyway, because there's all manner of fixings here, and so forth, and down the outside. So get all the seat boxes put in, and obviously I need to paint this floor before they go in as well. Yeah. It's quite nice now the dash is all starting to go together. I know it's dusty. There's no point doing anything about that until the screen's got in. I think so. Do you? Fucking up. Had enough. Had enough. Going home for a beer, I think. On a Tuesday, Richard? Yes, I am. Basically, the way these SUs work, by the way, all of the mechanisms are on the back of the carburetor. So this is the bulkhead side. That's the throttle. See how the throttle works? Nice and easy. And then the choke cable goes down through this nodule here and pulls on that and opens up both chokes. Now this pair of carbs, although they're clean, they're a bit on the sticky side. Very similar in the way they look to the Strombergs, because they've got a dashboard and they've got a float chamber underneath, and they're a constant depression. Imitation, sincerest form, eh? Oh, those are the customer's carbs over there. This is just my dummy set over here, just so I could work out what the linkage was doing and what it was going to do and where it was going to go and what was going to happen and how it was going to happen, etc, etc, etc. Right, the other thing I'm going to need to do is to sort this out, because I'm fed up with having these wires and things. So it'll be an engine day tomorrow. I might film some of it. I might just film some of it.